good morning, and welcome to the Rick Helps Real Estate Show on this fine Monday morning in Arizona. Finally, not going to be 100 million degrees, so we're getting there. And we're going to look at what our numbers look like today compared to 2022, and you are going to be shocked at the similarities. Like my friend, the great late Yogi Berra once said, it's deja vu all over again. He also said, nobody goes to that restaurant anymore. It's too crowded. When you come to the fork on the road, take it. There's a book out there called Yogiisms. You should get it. It's really good. So, what is going on? Well, everybody in the industry was saying we're going to have 4 to 6 rate cuts this year, and it's going to start getting really busy in the fall, and the buyers are going to come out of the woodwork, and we're probably going to be looking at interest rates in the high fives, if not mid fives, and bidding wars will start all over again. Well, that didn't work out. And so what we're seeing is that mortgage rates have gone up. And what's interesting is when you look at this chart and you go to 2022, let me move this thing here. Here's where we're at today. And this is where we were in 2022. So the rate environment is the same today as it was 2 years ago, almost identical. Now they crept up even higher as you got into 2023 here, and that made the wheels fall off the wagon for a little bit. I don't see that type of a rate increase showing up again like we did in 2023, but we're also looking at an environment right now where we're not going to see them flying down at the rate that many people prognosticated that we were going to see. So we're literally sitting at, let me pull up here. We're sitting at, let's see, get rid of this. This is the fun thing about being live, right? So mortgage rates today are at 6.64 right there. They were 6.1 not too long ago, and everything changed. So what's the impact on the market? What are we seeing? Well, take a look at this. Active listings right there at 2022 levels, identical. They all started going up in July in 2022. Well, actually, they started going up in April 2022. This year, they started creeping up slowly in July of 2022. And you can see down below in the ticker that our new contracts are still stuck at 25.24. Now, last year at this time, my 7-day moving average, new contracts were rolling about 2,100. So it was worse. But we didn't stay there. We kind of climbed out of it. The gap between new listings and new contracts was starting to grow exponentially. And so thus prices started coming down. That's what we want to watch for here. Looking again at 2022, here's pending listings. We're almost right there. This number here shows 4304 last year, or 2022, 4676, pretty close. Will they follow this downward projection? I think so, just because it's seasonal. It tends to do it every year. Like last year, it went down. 2021, it went down. 2020, we can't even look at because of the pandemic. 2019, it went down. So you don't have to be this guy with this great big major crystal ball to say, hey, between now and the end of the year, pending listings are going to go down. It doesn't take a Harvard degree for that. Months of supply. Check this out. Right now, we're sitting here just about 3.5. 2022, we were slightly above 3.5 months of supply. Following the same trajectory, we may end up I think we're going to hit 4. I think we're going to surpass this number at the rate that we're going. So we'll see what happens there. Look at listings under contract, which again are like pending listings. The difference is listings under contract sometimes is just it's a contingency, or it's under contract accepting backup offers. It's slightly different than pending. Usually agents mark things as pending because they're pretty confident it's going to close. So it's like, hey, we're not accepting any backup offers. This house is pending. So the numbers are relatively the same right there, kissing on 2022. It's 7089, 7147. No change there, right? Man, oh man. Now, what else changes? Well, Cromford Market Index. This is where we're at today. This is where we were in 2022. Identical. It's just deja vu all over again. Now we look here at the Cromford report, taking a look at months of supply. We hit a peak of 3.8 in November of 2022. Today we're at 3.6 months of supply. Based on the 7-day moving average that I just showed you, I think we're going to be at 3.8 by the end of the week. Our current number of listings that we have out there is over 20,000 for a Monday. That's kind of unusual. We usually don't hit 20,000 until limping into the weekend, like Thursday or Friday. So it tells you that the weekend was kind of slow, that we didn't have a whole lot of sales going on there. And that is where we're going to see the most of the market right now. Now, having showed you all these numbers and looking at 2022, what happened to pricing in 2022? And can we expect to see the same reaction this year? Because that's what everybody's waiting for. Does this mean that we're going to have price reductions? Well, here's what we have right here, and that is average annual appreciation based on monthly price per square foot. This is the annual appreciation. In other words, up here at the beginning of 2022, over the year, we went up by 26.2%. We started this year up 7.8%. Right now, we're down, we're flat, 0.3. Back in 2022, we were still 9.7% up for the year, but that's because we were up so high at the beginning of the year. So it just took time for that to water out. But then it came down to where we were 0.7. So pricing pressure on the upside is down. It's just gone. It's not there. And we're seeing that in most of the price ranges between 400 and 800,000. We're seeing some pricing pressure start to show up in the over $1 million, but that's a whole different market. I'm seeing a lot of pricing pressure in over 55 markets, surprisingly. Usually over 55 isn't driven by interest rate moves, and it isn't driven by the general economy. Most people that buy in retirement areas are in fact retired, so they're already not working, so unemployment doesn't affect their decisions. But it may mean that trying to sell their home back home is wherever they're from, Minnesota, Michigan, Washington, is not going as swiftly as they anticipated. And so coming out here and buying something in over 55 area in Arizona is not boding well for them. Now we have somebody that's looking at one of our listings in over 55 area, and the comment from the agent is they're trying to decide whether or not they want to retire in Arizona or Florida. Now, I think Milton probably would have helped that decision a little bit last week, but that's where they're at. Raise your hand if you want to go to Florida. Oh, boy, I sure don't. So we're looking ahead to 2025. We're going to be digging out of the same pit that we did in 2023, only without the spike in interest rates. So when we start comparing to 2023, we have to keep that in mind because interest rates went flying up then. And this year, as we get into 2025, it's looking like, according to the bond market and their projections and the way they're handling the market, that rates will start edging down. Now, there's a lot of data that's got to happen between now and the beginning of the year. And so the November rate cut that everybody's anticipating, when I say everybody, I mean the bond market, they've got a 0.25 priced in. And now they're wondering if even that's going to happen. They've given up hope of another 0.5 point reduction. And that's reflected in the rates that you see now. That's why they've gone up. So they anticipated the 0.50 when they pulled the rates down. They came down to 6.1. It's a complicated process. It's impossible to predict. But now they're up to 6.6. And keep in mind, the central bank didn't change anything. They didn't do anything. They didn't say anything different. It's just what the market is anticipating. So they're not anticipating a big cut. If they were anticipating a big cut, we'd see these rates coming down now before November. And that meeting is November 7th. So it'll be 2 days after the election. Speaking of the election, I had a video come out last night showing, saying, well, what effect does the election have on real estate? And I showed several charts showing that honestly, it doesn't affect anything. I compared all the years. So take a look at that. Tell me what you think. But please, some people just went off the rails. I mean, when you just mention the word presidential race, the crazies come out, the conspiracy theorists. Sorry if you made a comment and I'm calling you the crazy person, but some of the comments on there just make you shake your head. It's like, hey, I'm not entering into the fray. I'm just saying, has a presidential election affected the general direction of real estate? And the answer is no. And I show it chart by chart. I don't care who wins, who loses. I mean, I do. Otherwise, I wouldn't vote. But when it comes to real estate in the short term or in the midterm, it doesn't change anything. In fact, the years I compared, uh, all of the numbers were kind of going down. The number of contracts, prices, the general direction was already headed down. And then along come the elections, nothing turned around. You can't look at November and then see a chart suddenly change. It's just momentum is momentum. And so, take a look at that. But I think it's having an impact on volume for us, just like it did. It really did in 2016. 2020, not so much, because 2020 was just, it didn't make sense. All the fundamentals for our economy and for real estate just out the window. So 2021 or 2016, which was Clinton and Trump, boy, people sat on their hands just like they are now. Like, the news was bad. What are we going to do? This is terrible. I don't know where this is going to shake out. And so people didn't buy. And Luck here says, true. I think a lot of people have lost their mind since 2020. I'd like to think I'm still of sound mind and sound body, but yeah, it just some people just get triggered. I'm trying to show some numbers on what's going on with that, and they're going off. BlackRock's going to crash the market. Marxist, like, stop. I haven't even checked in YouTube what's called held for review. If you put something on somebody's YouTube channel and you just go off on the rails and you start spewing a lot of profanity, it doesn't show up on YouTube. People have asked me, I've commented on your channel, where'd it go? And I'm like, I don't know. And then I go to the held for review and I go, oh, there it is. I'm supposed to approve it. And I won't. If you're swearing, you're going off on a tangent or a conspiracy theory, I just let it sit there. And especially if you mention any of the coins, like Bitcoin, there are people, and you've seen it on YouTube channels where they go, I've made, 200% of my money since I went to manager Mary Mark, whatever. And everybody goes, oh, she's the best. Boom, 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 boom. You'll have 20 comments like, what the heck is this? So I have keywords in there that says, if any of these words show up in the comments, get rid of it. So it does. So looking out for the next few weeks, inventory is going to continue to go up. Why? Well, it does every year, and sales are going to drop. You watch how low things are going to get Thanksgiving week. After that, it's going to be below 2,100 on my 7-day moving average, and it's going to stay there until the end of the year. Now, for sellers, is this all doom and gloom and bleak? Well, not really. It's definitely slow. Let me show you what's going on in the Cromford Market Index, just for our giggles here. Fountain Hills is still considered a seller's market at 188. Anything over 110 is considered sellers. So you got Fountain Hills, Scottsdale, and Chandler, and Glendale. And Paradise Valley is almost at a balanced market, as is Mesa. And the rest of the market is either balanced or in favor of buyers. So buyers, if you're in a position to buy, you're in a position now to look at homes and go home and think about it. And you've got some great negotiating power. Not major sellers are not really in tune to accept an extreme lowball offer, because we don't have any. You need desperation for that. I still see some sellers starting out too hot, and I see some sellers pricing correctly. So it's up to you and your agent to get there and take a close look at it and say, well, where do they come in? And so you never know where you're going to shake out. But I can tell you, sellers, that buyers just are not offering you your asking price today. And I don't care if your asking price is spot on or low. They're just drilled into, oh, you're asking 480. Okay, well, I'm going to come in at 450. So there's got to be a lot of back and forth going. Like I've said before, an offer is an open invitation to negotiate. So don't reject it. If you get an offer and it's too low, don't reject it. Don't be insulted. It's just math. Get with your agent and go, wow, that came out of nowhere. What can we do with this? Well, let me call them, see what kind of wiggle room they have, if they'll admit it, or otherwise, let's counter back on what we'd like to see. So we were going to ask 480. Well, let's counter back at 470 and see what they come back with. You okay with that? Yeah, okay. Send it out, wait, see what they say. But a rejection, you're just flicking off a potential buyer. So don't do that. I shout that from the rooftop quite a bit. But for our market, 8 out of 17 cities remain in a seller's market out of over 110, although these are below 120. Though 4 of these are below 120, we have 4 cities that are balanced while the remaining 5 are a buyer's market. Only 1 city is still over 140, and that is Fountain Hills. Fountain Hills starts to get a little bit of a seasonal uptick this time of year, but the listings don't start showing up until January. So there is some interest in Fountain Hills now as people are looking to come out there and retire. But the listings don't start showing up until the beginning of the year. Until that happens, they're going to be a seller's market, not really a balanced market, because they have less competition. So I just found that interesting. Looking back a couple of years, it sure makes it easy to predict, doesn't it? It's not going to be a big guessing game going into the rest of the year. But if you have any questions, shoot me an email at rick@rickhelps.com. Have a great day. Take care.